Hey, it's Jacob. So today I want to talk about fat tails. So this is what it is, right? Fat tails. And you probably don't know what fat tails are, and I'm going to explain what it is. But basically, here the point is, this is a type of events that people are not talking about, and that they have a huge impact on our productivity. And because a lot of people don't talk about it or pretend they don't exist, that's mostly what it is, right? They pretend that doesn't exist because they don't really understand how to deal with those type of events, right? And that's the type of things that I want to talk to you about because of the consequences of those, and that's the whole point. They are You need to take care of those consequences. The consequences might have a higher impact on your productivity than anything else, right? So let's get right into it. So what is a fat tail? So a fat tail is a type of distribution, right? A probability distribution. And I know it sounds scary, but like this is extremely simple. And I'm going to start with like what people usually think that things are, and then I'm going to talk about fat tails. So people usually think events are like that, right? So here that is called a Gaussian distribution, right? So Gaussian. And it's fine. Like this is just the probability of the event, right? It is not that complicated. So, but let me explain. So this is the time, right? I'm gonna take time. Here, this is the negative impact on your time, right? And let's say that something happens, something that is negative, and that has an impact on your productivity. When that thing happen, then it has an impact on your time, right? And so this is the impact on your time, the green thing, right? And the probability here is the probability of that thing happening. So it's really, really intuitive because it's just like, let's say on average, everything that happens has an impact on of 1 hour on your time. I don't know, like somebody is going to interrupt you, then it's gonna make your time like you're gonna have to do an additional hour of time because it just disrupted your workflow. It's just an example, right? It's probably less than that on average, but it's just to make things simpler. It's very simple. So what's the point here of the Gaussian distribution? It's this. If you go away from like this impact, this time impact, then it's going to go down really, 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 really fast, right? So, for example, here, maybe it's going to be 30 minutes. And here, 1 hour and 30, right? And maybe the probability here to get to 30 minutes, to have a 30-minute impact on your time, or a 1 hour 30 minutes impact on your time, it might be like 50%, right? When something happened, there is a 50% chance that it's going to be 30 minutes or 1 hour and a half, right? Okay, very simple. Now, what about like 2 hours? Well, 2 hours might be here, something like that. Here, um, I mean, here, like there is a, here it goes to zero, right? Directly, because you can't have like a negative impact on your time, right? I mean, a less than zero impact on your time, right? So it's going to be zero here, and here is going to be very, very low, right? So the probability might be, I'd say, let's say about zero, because at this point it's so small that it's just that never happens, right? So that's what a Gaussian distribution is, and that's what people are usually using to model things, right? In terms of probabilities, in terms of how we talk to each other, right? We use those types of things because it's what everybody is using for everything, right? But here is the problem. What about 2 days? What's the probability of the event happening that is going to have a 2 day impact? And the thing is, if 2 hours is 0%, then 2 days is maybe something like 0.00000, and there is maybe like 15 zero and then 1%, right? Because the point of the Gaussian distribution here is that it decreases exponentially. Like mathematically, that's how it's that's just the mathematical, literally mathematically, that's how it's modeled. Like this is an exponential that decreases. I mean, it decreases exponentially fast, right? So it goes faster and faster. So that means a probability of a 2 days impact on your productivity of that is it's never gonna happen, basically. Like there is no way you could live like for like 20 lifetimes. It's never going to happen that you have a 2 days impact. Now, you can understand the problem now, right? Like, of course that happens. We have 2 days impacts on our productivity when something bad happens. Like your laptop crashing. If your laptop is crashing, it's probably gonna take a few. It might take a few days, right, or whatever it is. But like, it's not something that is never gonna happen in like 20 lifetimes. Like that's just not what it is. And so that is what a fat tail is, right? So let's clear that up and actually do a fat tail distribution. So a fat tail distribution, I'm going to make it like, that's not exactly how it is, but just for like visualizing it, I'm gonna like make it I'm gonna make it a little bit easier to visualize, basically. And so that's like that, right? So same thing here, 1 hour. Here, this is the time, and here, this is the probability of the event happening. And basically, the point here is, if this is 1 hour and a half, and here it's 30 minutes, and here we have like something like 50% or whatever, then the probability of it being like 2 days, it might be something somewhere here, right? 2 days. Oops. Well, it's still not gonna be like 0.000%, right? It's going to be something like maybe 20%. And that's why this is more realistic. This is the real world. And we really need to think about that, because most people, again, I'm gonna draw the other one here just to make you see the difference very clearly. This is the theoretical world. And so the difference here, we need to understand that people are using that one and they're not using the real one here. So that leads to things that are really, really like that are counterproductive, right? Because again, you're not going to take into account the events that are 2 days that have a 2 days impact on your productivity. Even though, if you think about it, maybe those are the only one you really need to take care of, right? The events that have a big impact on your productivity. So it's not just harmful, it leads to the exact opposite conclusion, to not understand fat tails and to pretend they don't exist. So that's kind of the point that I wanted to talk to you about. And just to give you a very simple example, like again, the laptop example, like if it crashes, then maybe you have like, let's think about like the impacts on your productivity, right? You might like lose your data. And so maybe you're gonna have to like find a way to get back some of your data from backups or from different laptops. And maybe it's gonna take a lot of your time, right? So that's one of the reasons. The second one is you might try to troubleshoot This might take you like a lot of your time. Maybe you're gonna go on like forums. If you try to do it yourself, call people. Uh, I mean, tons of things, right? That you're gonna do, and maybe after all that, you're gonna go to a repair shop, right, to fix it. And so, yeah, it's going to take a lot of your time. So those types of events, they have like you really need to understand them in order to at least start thinking about how to solve those types of problems. And there are a lot of different ways to go about like solving the problem, but the point of this video is just about like acknowledging that this is something that actually has an impact, and maybe something that is the only thing that we need to consider, the high impact things that have that are like that have a lower probability of happening and that are completely neglected by people that don't consider the fat tails type of events, right? So that's it for this video, and thank you for watching. If you want to be part of my contacts, you can click on the link in the description and you'll get exclusive content from me. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.